asked Selby once, I was like, what's the worst Tinder date you've been on? Because I've actually never had a really bad date. Like, all of the dates I've been on.
I'm glad for you.
Yeah, even though, like, maybe it didn't go somewhere, like, it still was a nice enough date. And then we just, like, maybe didn't decide, like, I don't know, whatever. But then I asked Selby, and he was, like, saying that he took this one girl out, and then she literally just, like, he was trying to pull out words from her.
It's drawing blood from a stone.
Pulling
That's
teeth.
it, drawing blood from a stone.
Pulling teeth, yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, and
Did you have to pay for the meal?
Yeah.
Fuck off. She was just getting free food out of you.
I'll put it up here. I think I must have spent most of the money that I earned in university on girls.
Oh, Selby.
I mean,
that's not necessarily fair either.
It's not fair, but
I
it is
always
demanded
split.
of
Yeah.
the male sex a lot more.
No, split the bill.
I had a...
No,
Split the bill, I
we
agree.
split. Well, actually, 'cause when we went on our date,
Maggie treats me.
Yeah, like, wait,
Maggie treats me.
you paid for the first, like, few rounds. And then we did, like, we basically went to this really nice cocktail bar, got, like, a bunch of cocktails, and then the bill was massive. And I was like, let's split it. Like,
That was a big tick for me. That was on my list. A person who was independent, who treated me as their equal.
Yeah.
I did not like being treated as the bank because I was not the bank.
No, it's proportionate to income, isn't it, as well, sometimes?
And
I think
it's a
nice
choice.
enough.
It's a decision you have to make together as a couple.
Yeah, and it's nice enough to, like, treat someone and be like, I'm a gentleman, I'll get you a drink. But then
and then you can be treated as well.
Yeah, I would love to be
equally,
treated.
it's nice to treat someone back, eh?
I had that's one of the, it's such a shame, like, I had one of the worst dates I've had recently was a guy who'd, bless him, he's obviously been hurt before in that kind of sense, but he just went off on how this woman, like, split the bill and then later messaged him and was like, oh, we shouldn't have split it, like, you should have paid for me. And I'm like, and I was like, mate, in that sense, that's not fair, because she's obviously not articulating herself in the moment. And then I tried to bring in the nuance, and I was like, you work for a very nice company and you earn, like, a lot more than I do as a student who works, like, in healthcare. Like, it's not the same. And I was like, so I am very willing to split, but if you are going to choose somewhere fancy in Stockbridge, then you might want to consider paying slightly
bill's
more.
like £100,
You literally have just brought this memory out of my brain, and this relationship.
I hear people say situationship.
This situationship ended
Yes.
so badly for me, in the sense that, like, it was to the point where, like, I almost had to phone the police kind of thing. But in the beginning, it wasn't in that way. Like, this guy lived 3 hours away from me, and I was like, again, I was not single, like me, like, I co-parent with my, like, you know, my kids' dads and stuff like that. But I was a single mom. Like, you know, I was single and I had the kids full time, you know, and I was working. I was just a yoga teacher. And, like, I didn't have, like, I didn't have much money. Like, do you know what I mean? And this guy wanted me to pay for his hotel to come to Edinburgh to see me when I had driven 3 hours to see him and never asked for gas. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and he expected me to split the hotel, and I was like, and I wasn't into him that much. I was like, he was way older than me as well, and he also, like, and he had, like, a fucking job, like a career, and was, like, very successful, like, not successful, but I don't know what his financial stable. And I was just like, no, like, knowing that I had two other dependents on me. He had no one. Again, he's older, had a job and a career and all of this, and had the time to take out of his, like, you know, schedule to come and down and see me. And I was just like, fuck off. Like, don't see me then. I'm like, do you really think you're the only person I'm seeing? Like,
I think dating is
which he
like
knew
shopping.
as well. Like,
Don't lie to yourself.
Here's another analogy.
Yeah.
That's,
It's
like,
kind of like shopping.
I say bye boy to that person.
Bye boy,
Yeah, like,
You're
what
like,
the fuck? Like, but that's what I mean is, like, obviously splitting in the situation, but if you're honest and you know someone's financial situation and you know that you are better off, like, it's is nice. Like, even if you are a female or a male, whatever, like, it is nice to step in and be like, I can help you. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
I'll show you that I like you. Like, that's what my sister does with her fiance. Like, they've got different financial situations, but she's like, this one's on me because I'm showing you. And that's why, you know, sometimes it's nice to be treated. What were you going to say, Sylvie?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I feel like it's a bit like shopping.
Yeah.
And Well, I mean, initially it's about shopping because the first date or two with somebody, you have no clue who this person is. I mean, you've met them online, like what we maybe chatted for, a couple of days. And then big tip for everybody who's online, find somebody's Facebook or other platform because they are not who they say they are. At least for me, 50% of the time.
Selby, right? So we matched on Tinder,
for this as
and then Selby fucking added me on Facebook, and I was like, psycho.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's
immediately,
bold, man.
Immediately,
I
was
need to
like,
know that you're real.
It was so
I've
bloody
had someone do that
direct. I was
before.
like, you're a fucking freak. Why are you adding me on Facebook? We haven't even met yet.
Because you don't seem real on Tinder.
Yeah, he thought that I didn't seem
You were too
real.
good to be true, honestly.
Yeah, you're an absolute babe.
No, I mean, it sounds that way, but
it is like shopping.
He was like,
From a female
That's
to
too
a
many
male,
chins for a real woman.
I have a thing that I've found recently with guys on Tinder. What is with all the sunglasses? Like, what on the date?
they're hiding something.
Because their eyes are
on
too
the
small
date.
for their
on the dating app.
That's horrible.
Yeah, no, but it's like that's what I said. I'm into the third Ryan. We'll call him third Ryan, young Ryan. I told him, I was like,
Young
mate,
Ryan.
you had one photo without sunglasses, mate. Like, you've got a very nice face. Like, why do you have to have all these sunglasses photos? And then also, here's another question.
Did he give you an answer though?
He was like, yeah, I've had that feedback before. And I was like, well, do something about it.
I've had that feedback
before. And I was like,
How many
maybe
dates
I'm
have you
too
been on?
I'm maybe too blunt. Yeah, I know. Well, exactly.
No, I think you have
Ryan.
to.
Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan.
And then sometimes, like, I would never put a photo up that's more than a year old onto my profile. But then sometimes guys have photos that I'm like...
From like 30 years ago.
Yeah,
like
literally. And then you meet them and
2013.
you're like, you are like the guy that was very anti, like, paying for women. He literally had a photo from 10 years ago. And I was like, mate, like... That's not fair on you or me, because then you get that's a catfish
it's an expectation.
vibe. Yeah,
Yeah, that is
exactly.
a catfish vibe. That's
Yeah.
like
I
you're
found
80
that-
years old saying you're 30. That's not okay.
Oh my god, I've been catfished before, but I feel like...
Tell us.
Here it comes.
Here we
Do
go.
we actually want to hear this one?
Yes,
No,
come
it's
on.
quite a long one. And
Get on then. This is a storytelling podcast.
I know,
Did
but
you
it's
know?
just such a long-winded story, and I don't even...
Can you skip over
Can
the
you give
horrible
us the
bits?
highlights?
Okay, I'll do it a long story. So basically, I met this guy online, and then... But it wasn't like a proper catfish the way it's like, oh, it wasn't the pictures. It was
He catfished
basically... He lied about everything that he said. As
Okay.
in, he was the person that was in the pictures, but he lied about his entire persona and who he was and like what he did and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And basically, long story short, there was just a bunch of red flags. I might get into this in like another podcast episode, but basically there was a bunch of red flags, and I broke up with him, and he had been logged in on my he logged in his Facebook on my iPad, and I was like, fuck it, like I don't give a shit about him. I'm gonna read through his messages.
As you would do. I would do
Yeah,
the
because
same
I was
thing.
like, I genuinely I have no respect anymore for him, so I'm just gonna do it. And then basically, and then all of his messages revealed that everything he said to me was a lie. And I was like, what the fuck? So literally, I organized a phone call with him, and I told him that he was a psychopath and that he needed help. And he was like, wow, you uncovered and discovered me. Like,
Wow.
it was so disgusting. I was like,
Yeah.
Said the psychopath.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
was like, okay, so I've discovered this, and like, what are you gonna do with it? And he, like, do you know what I
Just
mean?
gonna
And
continue.
I've
lying.
discovered that you're a liar. Like, what the fuck, you lunatic? You
Yeah.
caught me? Like,
yeah, and then basically, I just decided to block him because I was like, I'm not gonna gain anything from this, and then recently I was going through my requested messages, and I found that he had made multiple fake profiles and messaged me
God.
like being like, please take him back, like pretending that he was like this person's friend,
No.
and being like, take him back, blah blah blah. But obviously, like, Facebook filters your messages, so like this person didn't have any mutual friends with me, so it wasn't sending me the messages, and I only just found them now, like years later.
oh my God.
So it was kind of like,
Dodged
yeah,
a bullet. Yeah.
oh, absolutely. And yeah, another person that made me quite wary of others.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is why it's like shopping, because before
Yeah.
you buy anything online, what are you going to do? You're going to check what the reviews are,
Yeah.
right? You're going to check the reviews, You're going to see if there's like other websites. You're going to check if it's a scam. But when you're dating, you have none of that. You have none of that protection. It's very much just like, I need to meet you as soon as possible to see if you're a real person.
Involved.
It's a lot of trust. And that's why when people say, you know, meet me at mine or something, that's kind of to the person where you're meeting at theirs. Like for me, it was, I had my flatmates there, like, you know, everything was fine. It's a position of maybe power where like you feel safe and you can meet them at the door and then not let them in. I actually had one friend who did that where they were like, somebody who arrived at their door, who they've been talking to online, was not who they said they were. Showed them around the flat and then asked them to leave.
I mean,
this is my flat now, I'd like you to leave.
No, it's like, this is the front door, this is this bedroom, this is the kitchen, the living room, now leave. This is the front door, guys.
And it sounds really harsh, and there's obviously more to that story, but the whole concept is that you're both shopping, like both parties are shopping, and you both have intentions, and as long as you're clear about the intentions, like, I don't want a relationship, this is just for fun, I'm just trying to, you know, enjoy my life and having some experiences with individuals, you know, let's split the bill, let's have a good time, let's see how this goes, you know, those types of kind of open conversations are great, but it all starts online. And I've also found with etiquette that a lot of the pickup lines, you know how like when you're engaging online, you've got, you know, you've got that first opening. So Tinder, it was mostly, because I was one of the early users of Tinder. It was like, Tinder came out, 2013, 2014. OG, yeah. So I used Tinder a lot in the early days. And I found it very, very weird because obviously girls never message you on Tinder, ever. So you're doing all the graft. And a lot of the time it's like message, trying to create some sort of engagement, and they're just not replying back to you. And you're like, eventually you have to just cut it and just cut your losses. Because they're not engaging with you. And then eventually you find somebody who is engaging with you. And in a weird way, you kind of have to find that balance of maybe you have a long conversation with them, but you know if it's happening over a couple of days, and it still doesn't result in a meeting of some sort, it's not going anywhere. People
have different rules on timing as well. When it's quite interesting because now with Bumble, like, women have to message first. So I think the dynamic has changed. That I now message quite a lot of people first, but I think there is still more half and half on Hinge and Tinder. But like, I'd be interested to hear what you guys think. You know, I have one friend that if someone hasn't asked her out to like meet in person, after 48 hours, she's going to drop that convo. And then someone else has the opposite of like, oh, I want to speak to someone online for the week before I meet them.
Oh, really?
And I think that's quite interesting.
I think it just depends on the vibe. Like,